So Maria, I really like this draft. I think you have a lot of good strategies in here. Some things that I'm like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. This is intuitive, and yeah, we need to provide some more structure for students. So it really gave me some insights onto things that we could do for students. And you should really be thinking about writing up, okay, the implementation part. How do we implement this in a classroom or a workshop? And this has given me some ideas for the teamwork workshop. So overall, I think this is really good. This is where it should be. There's some really good quotes here. I find your numbers here, like 13 out of 20, pretty persuasive. Seems like there's strong agreement. Now, I do think that the organization of the results could be tightened up. It wasn't bad, but it kind of um, felt like it could be streamlined even more and hit a little bit harder punch. The section that I found least compelling was this use of politeness strategies because it's kind of vague. And then in terms of your politeness strategies, it seemed like some of these could really be resolved by having protocols, for instance. So right here, for instance, they were able to manage the recipient's independence by allowing them to make the final decision. That's really a revision protocol. Uh, so, uh, so maybe, establishing revision protocols and as a subset, framing these as learning opportunities. So overall, in this section, I found this a little anticlimactic. And some of the issues were, really your whole thing is about how do you save face. So let's go, I'm going to move back up to the beginning of the results. So your very first section here is that professionals' experience reflected student experience. And this section went on for a long time. So I was feeling as I was reading it, I wanted a little more relief. I wanted a little bit more chunking in this section. I am wondering about, and I'm not sure if I'll like this organization as much once I see it, but so feel free if you want to go in a different direction. I'm not committed to this, but I think that a possible organization, so I think one possible organization might be to focus on first, show that the face threatening aspects that you allude to in your introduction through the prior research with students, that never goes away. And so, and that people, and that it just gets, maybe even gets more complicated, uh, because people have to, uh, negotiate hierarchy, and even supervisors have to think about validating their employees. So to really kind of foreground this as a key, so this is a key team skill to develop and really kind of make that point that giving and receiving feedback is key team skill, and that then you've uncovered three main components. And I'm not sure what order they should be in. I put these in what I perceive as going from most to least important, but maybe not. I You could certainly make a case for putting them in a different order, and I am not going to remember what order I recommended to you. But clearly establishing review protocols, I really like that suggestion, and in your discussion, you can really talk about how that would go hand in hand with the team charter. Right now in the teamwork workshop, I just advocate in terms of review protocols, decide whether you're going to change or give comments, but I think there needs to be a lot more. Then calibrating genre expectations, showing people what a good model is, actually kind of goes with the review protocols. Uh, so I'm not sure, I can see a good case for this going first, that we kind of need to know what the goal is. Uh, And let's see, maybe genre and reader expectations. So talking about what clients expect, really foreground, because so much of advice was couched in these things, and people need to know more about that. Could be another suggestion here is to couch advice in reader and genre expectations. But it seems like one key thing is to just don't assume that there can be expert blindness. Don't assume that people understand what a good PowerPoint looks like or what a good one of these looks like. And maybe that goes, like I said before, establish review protocols. The last thing seems to be to just kind of validate learning and teaching. So instead of the politeness strategies, that wasn't working for me. It was too wishy-washy, too vague. But I think that there were some compelling examples of, yeah, this person got really offended and they didn't work out for us. And so to make a case that in the classroom we have to say, uh, you are what this classroom is teaching you to do is to be a lifelong learner, uh, and that you can learn from people at different levels of the hierarchy, and you can learn from people beneath you. So to kind of sum up, some reorganization and tightening up of the structure of the results, though I think it's you have some really good quotes there, and I felt like I learned a lot. And then really going into the discussion and talk about the implementation. And it wouldn't be a bad strategy to go and write the discussion and implementation next, because that might get you rethinking about how to organize the results. But I think you're really kind of pointing towards a good workshop type intervention and something that you can add and something that you're kind of close to being ready to test out, which can be another chapter here. So let me know if you would like another meeting. I think this is moving towards, someday finishing it, and then we'll send it, I think, next off to Chris, and then Andrea, and send it out for review to reviewers. Very good, and I hope you had a wonderful break.